Isolated conductor in an external electric field. Assume that I have a conductor like this, and this conductor is held, for example, with a silk wire which is isolated, and this conductor is immersed inside electric field lines like this. In this case, the electric field inside the conductor will remain to be zero, such that the free electrons inside the conductor will be moved around the surface of the conductor to introduce negative charge in one side and positive charge in the other side, such that the total charge will remain constant. Assuming that I have started with a conductor with no charge, so the total charge in the conductor will be zero. If I have started with a conductor with certain charge on this conductor, the same amount will be the same, but we will have moving negative charge and positive charge in the other side. These negative charge and positive charge will introduce internal electric field which is opposite to the external electric field, such that the summation of the internal electric field plus the external electric field, the total electric field inside the conductor will be zero. And as we mentioned, the electric potential is the integration of the electric field over the displacement distance. So inside the conductor, the electric field is zero. This means that the electric potential inside the conductor, or the potential difference inside the conductor, is zero. This means that if I am moving any charge inside a perfect conductor, I need zero energy to move the charge from one point to another point, because the potential inside the conductor is zero. That's what we are seeing. If an isolated conductor is placed in an external electric field, all points of the conductor still come to single potential, regardless whether the conductor has excess charge or not. Assume that if I have already excess charge, okay, this electric field will introduce other charges, negative and positive, such that the total charge will be the actual amount of the excess charge. The free conduction electrons distribute themselves on the surface in such a way that the electric field they produce at the interior points cancel the external electric field that would otherwise be there. So the negative charge of the electrons will distribute themselves, will be accumulated in this direction, and will be depleted from this point, such that we have positive charge here and negative charges here. This positive charge to negative charge will introduce electric field in this direction. This is the opposite to the external electric field. So the internal electric field plus the external electric field will cancel each other, such that the total electric field inside the conductor is zero. The electron distribution causes the net electric field at all points on the surface to be perpendicular to the surface. This is another point. This charge distribution, this introduced charge distribution, is introduced such that the electric field lines on the surface of the conductor must be perpendicular to the conductor. So the electric field inside the conductor is zero, and the electric field on the surface of the conductor is perpendicular to the surface. The electron distribution causes the net electric field at all points on the surface to be perpendicular to the surface. Imagine that we have kept the charges as themselves and we remove the conductor. This is a hypothetical assignment, but assume that we can do it. In this case, this charge distribution will keep the electric field inside this region to be zero, and will keep the electric field lines to be perpendicular to the hypothetical surface in this case. So if the conductor could be somehow removed, leaving the surface charge frozen in their places, the internal and external electric field will remain absolutely unchanged. This means that the internal electric field will be zero, and the external electric field it will be normal to the surface like this. Alright? From this, we can conclude that the potential of isolated charged conductor, an existing charge placed on a conductor will in equilibrium state be located entirely on the outer surface of the conductor. So any existing charge inside the conductor will be located entirely on the outer surface of the conductor. The entire conductor, including interior points, is at uniform potential energy or electrical potential. This means that all the conductor, the surface and interior points has the same potential. If an isolated conductor is placed in an external electric field, then every internal point, the electric field due to the conduction electron cancels the external electric field. So the total electric field inside the conductor is zero. And as I said, the integration of the electric field inside the conductor dot the displacement, it will be zero because the electric field is zero. So there is no potential difference inside the conductor itself. Also, the net electric field at every point on the surface is perpendicular to the surface. As an example, assume that we have a spherical conductor with an existing charge, positive charge. In this case, by applying Gauss law, we can obtain the electric field outside the charged sphere, assuming that the charge is 1 coulomb and the radius of the sphere is 1 meter. So the electric field outside the sphere is inversely proportional to 1 over r squared. Alright? But inside the electric sphere, or inside the conducting sphere itself, inside the conducting sphere, the electric field is zero. Because inside the conductor, the electric field is zero. On the other hand, if you are interested to calculate the potential at any point, so we can find the potential at the final point minus the potential at the initial point as minus the integration from the initial point to the final point E dot ds. Assume that the initial point is going from infinity, so the potential at any point is the integration from minus infinity or from infinity to the final point E dot ds. We can take this integration, which is actually q over 4 by epsilon r. Alright? So by taking the integration of this electric field with the distance, we can obtain the potential at any point until we reach to the surface of the sphere. Inside the sphere itself, we will find the potential inside the sphere is the same as the potential at the surface of the sphere, not as the electric field. The electric field inside the sphere is zero, but the potential here, it will be constant inside the conducting sphere. So if the potential is constant, it means that no extra work is needed to do this, because to move a pointed charge inside the sphere, because no net electric force acts on the tested charge once it's inside the shell. Thus, the potential at all points inside the shell has the same value of the surface. So once I obtain the potential at the surface, this is the potential at any point inside the conducting sphere. This is a situation of charged spherical shell or charged conducting sphere. By this end, we have completed the chapter of electrical potential. Just to remind you with the main laws of this chapter, we said that the electric potential V is minus the work done to obtain a pointed charge from infinity to the observation point over the magnitude of the charge, and this is actually equal the stored electrical potential U over the magnitude of this charge. So the electric potential in this case, it can be defined as the magnitude of the charge multiplied by the potential in the observation point. The potential difference delta U equals Q multiplied by delta V. So Q multiplied by delta V, where V is the voltage at the final point minus the voltage at the initial point. We have introduced what's mean by equipotential surfaces, and we said that these equipotential surfaces are always normal to the direction of the electric fields on this equipotential surface. We obtain the electric potential from the electric field as V final minus V initial equals minus the integration from the initial point to the final point, the dot product between the electric field dot the displacement. And the potential due to charged particle, we have proved that the potential due to charged particle V is 1 over 4 by epsilon naught Q over R. If I have multiple charges, the total voltage due to multiple charges is a summation of the voltage due to separate charges. So it is a summation over I from 1 to N Vi, which equals 1 over 4 by epsilon naught. The summation from I equal from I to N Qi over Ri. The electric potential due to an electric dipole, we proved that is V equal 1 over 4 by epsilon naught multiplied by the dipole moment multiplied by cosine theta, where theta is the angle from the direction of the dipole to the observation point over R squared. We said that the potential due to a continuous charge distribution is simply V equal 1 over 4 by epsilon naught, the integration over dq over R. And if we are interested to calculate the electric field from the electric potential, we say that the electric field in x direction is minus the rate of change of the potential with respect to x minus partial d by partial x. The electric field in y direction is minus partial d by partial y. The electric field in z direction is minus partial d by partial z. And we finally said that the electric potential energy of system of charged particles, or the stored potential energy in a system of charged particles, equals the summation of the potential energy between each pair of this charged system. So assuming that we are talking about 3 particles, the total stored energy between 3 particles is U12 plus U13 plus U23, which can be represented as 1 over 4 by epsilon naught Q1 Q2 over D plus 1 over 4 by epsilon naught Q1 Q3 over D plus 1 over 4 by epsilon naught Q2 Q3 over D. By this end, we have completed the chapter of the electric potential. In the following chapter, we are going to talk about the electrical capacitance. Alright, see you.